Emily.
Emily! Thanks, Emily, for joining and supporting us. I needed to save us from ourselves.
Surprise shots. Surprise shots. We don't know what they are because they're a surprise.
Fuck, I'm toasted. I'm about to show my nips.
Was that gin?
Who
Ew.
wants it? Who wants this? Who wants to suck on this teat?
Ew! Stop it. Free the nip.
Free the nip.
Oh, sorry, nip slip. Ooh. Nip slip.
Oh my
Like, can we ask a real question? Why is that not scandalous? But if one of us did it, it would be.
Because
I don't
the
know.
patriarchy.
Fuck the patriarch.
It's not completely naked for y'all if you have pasties on. So if
Right.
you have a little
It's
thing
just the nipple.
covering your little nipple, you're not naked.
Correct.
That's so stupid.
So where are we going?
Who we killing? Jane Doe.
All right, here's where we're going right here. Have you
What
been here?
city is this?
Oh, look, there's my homeland. Wait, go up to the right a little bit. Go to the right.
Nope, he's not going to.
This
Because we're
trailer.
going to get into the story now.
This cow.
Nope, we're going to get into the
Shit.
story.
That's not where I'm from.
So,
That's New York.
yeah.
You can call it cow shit if you want. It's New York.
Tonight we're going to 515 West 42nd Street in New York. I'm here on the Google Earth. This is the Hotel Travel Inn. We're actually going to room 417. Tonight we're going to be talking about Carl Wilson. But this is going to be more of a Jane Doe story. And I kind of teased it on the last episode because I would like to see Jane Doe identified. And the man who could possibly identify Jane Doe, the Manhattan Jane Doe, is the same man who could also come out and tell authorities where he buried her head, which has not been found, which is why Manhattan Jane Doe is still unidentified.
What year did this take place?
This is November 29th, 1979.
So before DNA was a reliable source.
Yeah, so this is a Thursday, and we're going to be reading from Peter Vronsky's book. Peter Vronsky is a true crime author, and he writes a lot about generic serial killers. So he kind of writes about an amalgam of serial killers. And his latest book, Sons of Cain, was asking the question, where does the word serial killer come from? Do you know?
Yes.
Like where?
Washington, D.C. Mindhunter. The guy that founded Mindhunter.
CAA.
Yeah.
John Douglas.
FBI.
We're just throwing out random ass shit.
Okay, so the word serial killer, yes, it does come from the FBI, a term that was pretty recently, even before this, 1979, the term was coined. And it actually comes from these old movies in the 60s. If you went to a movie theater like in the 50s and 60s, they had these things called serials.
Series?
No, they're basically little episodes before the actual movie, but they always end in a cliffhanger. So you would come back to the movie theater next week to find out what happens.
Is it like the dancing hot dogs and sodas that
No.
they show before Grease in the movie Grease?
No, but these
At
are
the
actual,
drive-in?
these are actual little stories, monsters, stuff like that.
Oh.
And the damsel in distress and she's about to die, but then you got to come back next week to see if she lives and if the hero. Those are called serials. So that is where the word comes from. The word has actually been thrown around for a long time, the word serial killer, but in different variations, like routine killers,
Like a
and-
series, like your Netflix series.
But finally,
like The Crown, how we're waiting for season 6.
all right, so can you just read that, Nicole? This is a little bit about the area. In 1979 in New York, there were 16,000 prostitutes working each day in New York City.
From Peter Vronsky's true crime book, Sons of Cain, unlike the tourist and family-friendly versions today, in the 1970s, the neighborhood around Times Square and 42nd Street, named 40 Deuce or The Deuce, was very nasty. A teeming souk of hardcore porn, adult bookstores, peep shows, grindhouse movie theaters, knife stores, massage parlors, strip joints, live sex acts, souvenir shops, hot dog and hand jobs, street drugs, junkie bars, flop house welfare hotels, and prostitutes of every age, shape, and gender.
See, Jen, you can buy your nice bullet in one of these.
I just want to comment on the fact that there's a souvenir shop from live sex acts. Like what?
All
Also a hot dog hand job?
Dog hand job.
Now I want a hot dog.
I don't.
No, I want a hand job.
Womp womp.
November 29th, 1979, the Travelodge Hotel, a man named Carl Wilson registers for a weekend, and he registers room 417. This man is 30-ish, tall, blondish hair. He's very unassuming, and the staff couldn't even picture him after what I'm going to talk about came out in the media. But the only thing they can remember is the do not disturb sign that he placed on his door for about 4 nights.
That's a long time. They didn't turn the sheets over at all during that 4-night stay?
No, not when you have a do not disturb. He had booked this hotel for the weekend, 4 days. So I'm going to fast forward now. We started on the 29th. We're going to fast forward to December 2nd, a Saturday, 1979. As I said, Carl Wilson in this hotel. There were 2 girls that came and joined him. One of these girls is who we're focusing on tonight because this girl is now known as the Manhattan Jane Doe. She has never been identified, although I feel like she should be identified, as you'll see. The other girl, her name was Dita Godarzi. She was 23 years old. She's a Kuwaiti immigrant, and I did see some conflicting sources that say she might have immigrated from Iran. This is her right here, Dita Godarzi. So can you describe her?
Long dark hair, brown eyes, very nice eyebrows.
Brown, Jen, this is a black and white picture. What are you talking about?
Well, she's got, I mean,
They're
dark
dark.
hair, dark eyes, like long oval face.
Yeah.
She looks maybe in her
20s.
20s. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Like if you had my picture in black and white, my eyes would be lighter than that. Like if Nicole and I were taking a picture in black and white, you could tell that her eyes are brown and my eyes are blue.
She had thick, beautiful dark hair, high cheekbones. She was a mother of an infant baby, just 19 months old, who she had recently given up for adoption to the state of New Jersey, where she was from. She was from Trenton. She was actually a high-class escort. She knew the people that she would perform services for.
And her clients are like probably more likely to be well known and
Or wealthy.
well to do.
No, I wouldn't say that. Just because this guy's not really well known or well to do.
So what makes the difference between high class escort and
Honestly, I think it's the difference between a girl walking on the street and a girl who has contacts.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's the difference, honestly, to be honest.
No, that was a genuine question. Like I didn't
Yeah, so a girl walking on the street will blow anyone or whatever. But a girl who has contacts, she has a regular schedule.
a little black book.
Yeah, so she's going to be
Regulars.
she's going to be more high class because you don't really have to worry about diseases, and she's not sleeping with everyone. I don't know, I'm not a prostitute, but from what
I feel like
this story is,
sex workers who walk the street may have regulars as well.
yeah, but this lady, number one, she's in New York. She's in a hotel. She's from New Jersey, Trenton area.
Yeah.
So she's pretty far away from her home.
Trenton's not that far away.
I know, but she's not walking the street.
Right. Okay. She has to travel to the city.
Yeah. Well, she has this client that she has known for 2 years. This is another reason why I think the Manhattan Jane Doe, the other girl that was with Dita,
Got it.
could be identified because most likely this girl was also a regular to perform services for this man. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So the fact that this girl is not identified, I feel she should be at this point. Dita, she goes by Jacqueline, Thomas, and Sabrina. The second girl, who we know as the Manhattan Jane Doe, was in her 20s. We don't know the girl's name. The 2 girls were last seen up in room 417, the one with the do not disturb sign. Both were prostitutes, both happy to get off the streets and into a warm hotel. And according to Peter Vronsky from the book Sons of Cain, at the time there were 40,000 New York City prostitutes, and it got so bad at one point that the police had to actually put up barricades so that the prostitutes and their pimps would stop spilling over into traffic on 8th Avenue. Like they were literally so many of them, they would be pushed into traffic. I mean, 40,
Like moving traffic?
40,000 sex workers in this year.
Wow.
That is a lot.
That is a lot. And, you know,
So you can tell now how hard it might be to identify this woman. However, the guy who killed her is still alive, and she could be identified, you know?
Right.
Carl Wilson, who signed up for the room, had purchased services from both Godarzi, which we know her identity, and this unknown companion at the same time. A little bit about Peter Vronsky real quick. He's a old school true crime writer, and he always talks about how he has encountered numerous serial killers. And he's the one that says most people will encounter 3 serial killers in their life and not really know about it. It's just the random interactions. Anyway, this man, Peter Vronsky, was in the same city on the same day, December 2nd, 1979, as these prostitutes were in room 417. In fact, this true crime author, Peter Vronsky, registered a room of his own in this hotel and was going up to his room when he had his first encounter with this Carl Wilson, who came down the elevator. So in his book, his words, but basically what happened is he was looking for an inexpensive hotel. He was a journalist, so he was trying to find something cheap, and that's where he found the Travelodge Inn on December 2nd. And he was pretty upset when he registered the room because the elevator seemed to be stuck at the top floor, the 4th floor. And it seemed to him that someone had put a bag in between the door so it wouldn't close, so it wouldn't go down. So he is stuck there waiting on this jerk off, as he would say, to come down the elevator. This is from his book, Sons of Cain. Sons of Cain, like Cain and Abel?
Right.
So Cain was apparently the first killer. So sons of him. I don't know. He kind of forced it to work. It kind of makes sense.
I mean, I guess it does. Like, if you think about all of the killers that there have been on a chain of those who came from the House of Cain.
As I waited in the small lobby for the elevator, it seemed to be stopped forever on an upper floor. It was annoying. I was young and impatient. When the elevator finally came down and the door slid open, I took an extra hard look at the jerk-off who kept me waiting for what seemed like ages, although probably wasn't longer than a minute. He looked like anybody, ordinary.
So this man who is a serial killer, Vronsky says that he didn't even notice. He didn't even realize that he encountered the serial killer until it came out about what happened at this hotel right after. So he says in his book that all he saw was this man sweating on his forehead, and he, quote, walked through me almost like this man who got off, this Carl Wilson, was completely unaware of him standing there. The elevator had taken so long to come down because this guy he had put a bag down in the elevators so the doors wouldn't close because he was waiting to make sure something happened. And we know now that something was he had lit a fire in room 417. He was making sure that the fire was being lit and furnaced before he went down to clear all the evidence. Quote, as he got off the elevator, he walked into me as if I was not there, walked through me, bonking me on the knee and shin with a soft-sided bag that felt as if it had bowling balls in it, rounded, hard, and heavy. What do you think was in that bag?
I'm going to go with a head.
Yeah.
Is that what it says?
Ding, 99.
It was only later, after the capture of this man who registered in this hotel for room 417, he registered as Carl Wilson. It later came out that his real name, and he was called the Times Square Ripper, was Richard Cottingham.
Aha.
Did you know that?
Yeah, I was going to ask if this was related to Richard Cottingham when you said that there was a lady who didn't have her head.
We did Richard Cottingham, right?
Yes, we did.
Yeah, I know. I'm doing the Jane Doe that was also in the room.
Okay, I was just confused.
This man, Richard Cottingham, who is now basically on his deathbed right now. I recently did a little write-up about it. He is suffering from bad health and
currently in 2023.
Currently he is pretty much dying on his deathbed, and authorities are still trying to get as many names.
Wow.
And so far, I believe they have 9 unidentified victims that have been identified with his cooperation. But he is an elderly man at this point. He's not all there. And I feel like the Manhattan Jane Doe should be able to be identified.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, because we know who the other one was.
Yeah. How many people are running around Manhattan beheading people?
What? Jen, all right.
Or who's the victim of? you mean?
Right. Like, no, that's what I'm saying is that, like, this woman, she's a Jane Doe, it was in the 70s.
Shouldn't be that hard to identify.
Right. Like, there weren't a lot of people that were beheading people other than Richard Cottingham in that time period.
Wait, we know it was Richard Cottingham that beheaded her.
Oh, right. Got it.
What the fuck? What is going on here, Jen? I feel like sometimes you make me feel like I'm high.
It's the beer.
No, I think that I am just on a different planet. And I just realized that you're wearing your Chattahoochee hat and it made me really happy.
All right, I'm doing this for Jen. You guys don't look if you don't want to, but this is just to settle Jen's soul.
Oh my God.
You see,
Holy hell.
I even did the fade in there, Jen. You like that? So this is what the victims look like.
Great. Fantastic. Thank you so much for that, John.
So
Sadly, the not work to sober me up. Like, it was really sad to see, but I'm still drunk.
So these images right here, can you describe what you're seeing?
So we are seeing a body without a head.
Two bodies. This is two bodies.
Two bodies.
Yeah, one of them has arms and the other one does not.
One face up, one face down, and both covered in blood, no heads.
But one was identified and the other was not. So how does that happen? Can we use the same techniques? Do you want me to take this off the screen?
Yeah, that'd be good.
Thank you.
Can we use the same techniques that we did to identify Dita's body to identify Manhattan Jane Doe's body, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was only later, after Richard Cottingham was captured, that the author Peter Vronsky says that he thought back to the experience, and then the bag that hit him on the shin with the 2 bowling balls in it, he surmised at the time, started to make more sense. We know Godarzi's head was buried at the Long Island State Bridge, even though her skull was never found. That's what Richard Cottingham would say.
Uh-huh.
This is Richard Cottingham right now, the Times Square Ripper. I did his whole story. This is just a little refresher about the guy. He's on his deathbed currently, and he's been cooperating, but he's not all there in the head anymore. He's old.
Or ever. I mean, who is if they're going around beheading people?
Were the hands there or were they gone, or was that the other victim that you were showing?
Huh?
The hands? Like fingerprints?
So the hands were gone. Yeah, the hands were gone.
Okay. Feet
Sure.
prints are more unique than fingerprints.
Yeah, I was gonna say, aren't feet print?
But how many people get their feet printed?
I'm gonna go do it. I'm gonna feet print the shit out of everything.
Yeah.
Toes, hands, nose.
So the head was taken off, and the hands were also taken off, and also the breast of both women. But yet we can identify one, and there are certain ways we identified Godarzi, and most likely these two women knew each other, and that's just one of the ways that we can. I mean, we could actually go back if someone was really motivated. You could identify her. I can promise you that. I mean, it shouldn't be that hard. Now, I don't know if they still have the DNA from her or not. I saw a lot of people asking, well, why don't they just run her DNA through like Ancestry.com? I don't know if they actually kept her DNA or not.
Okay.
Because it, like you said, it really wasn't a big thing back then. Fingerprints, and now they can do toe prints. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. Honestly, I would doubt, because this was 40 years ago? More than that, 45 years ago? About 1979? Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't think they would keep DNA. Even
Well,
back then, they didn't even really know what to do with it. I don't know, maybe.
I don't know. Yeah, I do not know.
It seems like it's easy to just run DNA, but if they don't have it, then they're fucked.
Yeah. The thing that's important, there were no penetrating wounds, said the forensic pathologist, Dr. Louise Napolitano, who described seeing curved cuts around the woman's breasts, straight cuts beneath them. There were no knife wounds that penetrated into the body. They were all superficial. He's teasing them. I'm not doing anything to kill you right away. I'm not putting a knife in your chest or cutting or making you die right away. No, I want you to know I'm here doing things to you. Napolitano said he's doing things to make them afraid, to have them subjugate to him. I'm doing this to you and I can make it worse.
Both the bodies were desecrated. If you want to know the whole story on Richard Cottingham, I did that episode, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty gruesome. The reason I want to do this story specifically is because of the Manhattan Jane Doe and finding out who she is exactly. We know the identity of the other woman because of her. And
She survived.
huh?
Go on.
Jen, no, Jen. Kind of. She survived because she was given up for adoption right before her mother was found headless in a hotel room.
Oh, Mo.
So this is Jennifer Weiss right here. This is kind of what I wanted to do in the story because I haven't heard this. I don't know if you guys have, but this is really interesting. This is the daughter of Godarzi, the Kuwaiti immigrant.
Got it.
Okay.
Who in 2002 wanted to know who her biological mother was. She was given up to the state. They ran DNA tests. I'm sorry to tell you this, but your mother was found headless in a hotel room.
Oh, shit.
So, being Jennifer Weiss, what do you think you would do with that information?
I want to find out everything about her. Why was she found headless? What led her to
killed her?
that? Yeah, who killed her?
She sends him a letter.
Oh.
And she says in the letter, basically, please tell me everything you know about my mother. Richard Cottingham said in a letter to Jennifer Weiss, quote, I just don't know what to say to you or how to say it. I can only tell you what's in my heart and pray that you believe me. I am truly and deeply sorry, so very sorry for all the pain I have brought in your life. This is them together.
Oh.
Jennifer Weiss and the man, Richard Cottingham, who killed her mother.
She looks like her mother.
I know,
Lot.
dude. What? It is uncanny. Let me show you the mother right quick. This is the mother, right? And then
She has the same nose.
scrolling back up, right?
It's a lot like her.
Oh my God. It's literally the same. She reached out to Cottingham and instead of venting, you killed my mother, you beheaded her, you raped her, you all this stuff. She realizes that this man has killed a lot of other victims who are still unidentified. So Jennifer Weiss went on a mission to befriend Cottingham, which is weird. Okay.
Well, it's a tactic to
for
try
sure.
to get to know and try to build trust to get the answer she's looking for.
Did she
and
tell
to bring
him-
closure to others? That's like hugely admirable.
For sure. Did she tell him like at the beginning of their relationship? And I'm not talking like romantic relationship, but did she tell him at the beginning that she was the daughter, that he killed her mother? Or or did she tell him like after the fact?
I believe she said at the beginning. Now she has a whole Netflix thing and a podcast. I didn't watch it. The reason she's important is because if it wasn't for her, these other families would have no closure.
Right.
She befriended Cottingham, got past the terrible situation, and got him to confess to other homicides. She single-handedly got him to work with police to release names and identifications, which brought a lot of closure to multiple families. Over 5 that she's responsible for that I've seen. So 5 other families now have closure because she is such a strong woman to do this. Richard Cottingham did confess to burying her mother's head at the George Washington Bridge, although her skull was never found. As a mother, now Jennifer Weiss, mother of 4, cancer survivor, she says the following, quote, I'm doing this for the mothers who lost their daughters and my own mother, and for these girls that their lives were ended one night or day by Richard playing God. I'm not going to rest easy until we figure out who they are. So that's why I do what I do. So let's talk a little bit about the Manhattan Jane Doe, if you want. The Manhattan Jane Doe, and this is the Doe Network, she is still unidentified female. You see Godarzi's photo here. You see what they were wearing, their get up and stuff like that. But she is still unidentified. So the other woman in the room is unidentified. We know that Richard Cottingham had history with these prostitutes. So he liked to build a relationship with them. Like he knew Godarzi, he knew about her life. They were clients for 2 years.
Right.
So most likely the other girl is of a similar, or whatever.
Situation.
Yeah.
Her estimated age is 16 to 22 years. Race is white, female 5'1" to 5'4", 100 to 110 pounds. Her hair is unknown, eye color unknown. She has no really distinguishing marks. One of the reasons that they knew Godarzi was who she was without her head is because they went to the Trenton, New Jersey hospitals and looked for x-rays. And she had recently given birth to Jennifer Weiss, her daughter. She had had a cesarean scar, a very unique one. So even though she was using an alias at the time, Jacqueline, they still can match that cesarean scar to her. And that was one of the ways they can identify her. So could they do that with this girl as well, even now? Also, Godarzy was identified by a friend from Trenton. She was a high-class escort, so she had clients. She goes missing. She doesn't come back. And on December 7th, a friend called in to the police to ask about where Godarzy was. Did this happen with the other girl? Did someone call in about her as well? You know what I'm saying? Godarzy had also been arrested, quote, 5 or 6 times for prostitution in several communities. Did the other girl also have a record? So right now, Richard Cottingham, his health is failing and he's about to die. He's like on his deathbed. And I believe the reason he hasn't said her identity is because his mind isn't there anymore.
I'm sure he doesn't remember everybody.
Exactly. Right. And it's been 45 years at this point. But if someone could just maybe get him to remember where he buried her head, that may be enough to prime his memory or something. But I don't know. I just wanted to do that short story and just kind of revisit Cottingham. I know it was short, but
very interesting.
It is.
Also, I did an episode on him. I'm pretty sure it's brutal as all hell. But I know we didn't go into too brutal stuff. But I don't know. I don't know if you guys like that. I hope you guys did.
Yes.
Definitely check out that Jennifer Weiss. I mean, it's kind of interesting. Definitely a brave woman to go confront the serial killer who killed her mother.
Yeah.
Because I mean, she's not only asking, what did you do? Why did you cut her head off? She's also asking, what was she like?
Right.
What was my mother like?
Right.
They've known each other for 2 years. So she isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
Isn't that nuts?
Yeah.
And that picture of her choking.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I mean, it's something you don't see every day in true crime. I don't know.
No, not at all.
So I hope you guys enjoyed. And until next time, good night, you lovely, lovely people.